In 2019, one of tech's most celebrated founders made a massive bet. He promised to revolutionize the $7 trillion American housing market with an algorithm. It was a story of pure technological hubris, a belief that a machine could conquer a market driven by human emotion. Billions were poured into a moonshot plan that led to one of the most stunning tech failures in recent memory, leaving behind a trail of financial ruin and a profound warning about the true limits of artificial intelligence. This is the story of how Zillow's AI-powered house-flipping empire was built and why it came crashing down. The story begins with a simple, powerful idea. Before 2006, the true value of a home was information held tightly by real estate agents. Founders Rich Barton and Lloyd Frink wanted to change that. They had already disrupted the travel industry with Expedia. Now, they aimed their sights on real estate. Their weapon was the Zestimate, an algorithmic estimate of a home's value available to anyone for free. It was an instantaneous sensation. For the first time, homeowners had a data-driven starting point. The Zestimate gave Zillow a commanding presence in the market. It became the go-to platform for real estate information. After seeing Zillow find its footing, Rich Barton stepped away, going on to co-found the job review site Glassdoor. But by 2019, Barton saw a new, much larger opportunity. He saw a chance to move from just providing information to controlling the entire transaction. He returned to Zillow as CEO with a vision that was far more ambitious than anything the company had ever attempted. Barton wasn't just back to run the old Zillow, he was back to bet the entire company on a single, audacious idea. He wanted to turn Zillow from a listing site into a market maker, a company that would buy your house from you directly with the click of a button. The program was called Zillow Offers. It was the company's entry into the world of iBuying, or instant buying. The promise to homeowners was simple. Skip the open houses, the repairs, the uncertainty. Zillow's algorithm would give you a fair, all-cash offer for your home in days. The company would handle the rest, perform minor touch-ups, and put the house back on the market for a small profit. This wasn't just a side project. Rich Barton told investors it would become a $20 billion annual revenue business. The pressure was immense. To achieve this, Zillow kicked off an internal initiative for hypergrowth, codenamed Project Ketchup, a frantic plan to catch up to and overtake its competitors. The company went on a buying spree. In the third quarter of 2021 alone, it bought more homes than it had in the previous 18 months combined. Speed was everything. To move faster, operational guardrails were removed. The company reduced its reliance on human inspections and local analysts. Key decisions were increasingly automated. The algorithm was now in the driver's seat. To hit their astronomical targets, Zillow put its foot on the gas, trusting its powerful algorithm to navigate the road ahead. But they were accelerating directly into a blind curve. At the heart of Zillow Offers was a machine learning model. It was trained on years of historical housing data to predict future prices. But the housing market of the pandemic era was unlike anything seen before. Prices soared at an unpredictable, frantic pace. This was a black swan event, a scenario so far outside historical norms that the algorithm was completely unprepared for it. The model, trained on the past, could not accurately forecast the future. As the market began to show signs of cooling in mid-2021, Zillow's competitors adapted. They became more conservative. Zillow's algorithm did not. It continued to pay top dollar just as the market was peaking. The problem was made worse by a classic market dynamic known as adverse selection. Homeowners who knew their property had issues the algorithm couldn't see, like a bad foundation or noisy neighbors, were the most likely to accept a quick cash offer. Zillow was disproportionately buying the homes that experienced agents would have warned against. The results were devastating. In key markets like Phoenix, Zillow was systematically overpaying. The algorithm designed to find bargains was now a runaway train paying a premium for thousands of assets that were dropping in value. Inside Zillow, the red lights were flashing. Before we dive into the next part, let me ask you something. Here's a test. Count how many times you did the exact same task this week. Now multiply that by 52. If you're running a business doing $500,000 to $10 million, you already figured out the hard part. You've got customers, you've got revenue. But here's what nobody tells you. The bigger you get, the more you become the person handling all the stuff nobody else knows how to do. Approving invoices, scheduling calls, answering the same questions over and over. And the weird part, most of that can run itself now. It's not about spending a fortune or hiring a tech team. Most business owners just don't know where to start. So we built something simple, a 2-minute survey. You answer a few questions about what's eating your time, and it shows you exactly what's automatable in your specific business. Links in the description. It takes 2 minutes. You might be surprised what you find. Now let's get back to the story, because what happened next changed everything. The first public sign of trouble came in October 2021. Zillow announced a pause on all new home acquisitions, blaming labor shortages and supply chain issues. It was a smokescreen. The market was skeptical. The company's stock began to slide. Then, just 2 weeks later, the bombshell. On the company's third quarter earnings call, Rich Barton made the stunning announcement. Zillow Offers was being shut down. Permanently, the financial fallout was immediate and brutal. The company announced it would lose over $500 million in a single quarter. For the full year, the failed venture would cost them $881 million. Its stock price cratered, wiping out billions in market value. The human cost was just as severe. 2,000 employees, 25% of Zillow's entire workforce, learned their fate over impersonal video calls. The company was now saddled with a logistical nightmare. It was the unwilling owner of over 7,000 homes that it desperately needed to sell into a cooling market. Zillow became a distressed seller at a massive scale, in some cases selling homes to institutional investors at steep discounts. The gamble had failed. Now came the reckoning. Was this a failure of technology or a failure of human judgment? The answer is both. The AI was flawed, unable to adapt to a world it hadn't seen before. But the company's leadership made a critical error. They trusted it unconditionally. In the relentless pursuit of hypergrowth, they scaled up a fragile, unproven model and removed the human oversight that might have saved them. It was a story of tech hubris colliding with market reality. In the end, Zillow retreated. It returned to its original, asset-light business model of selling ads and leads. A business it knew well, the grand experiment was over. Zillow Offers stands as a powerful $1 billion cautionary tale. It proves that even with mountains of data and some of the brightest minds in tech, some parts of the real world, with all their human messiness, emotion, and unpredictability, cannot simply be solved with an algorithm. The fall of Zillow Offers provides clear, actionable lessons for any business leader or entrepreneur. First, AI is a tool, not an oracle. Never blindly trust a predictive model, especially in volatile markets. Models are trained on the past and can fail when conditions fundamentally change. Always maintain human oversight and the power to question the algorithm. Second, profitable operations. Trump hypergrowth. A sustainable business model and sound unit economics are more important than growth at any cost. Zillow's frantic push for scale magnified every pricing error into a catastrophic loss. And third, understand your market's nuances. Quantitative data is powerful, but it doesn't capture everything. Zillow's model couldn't account for the qualitative human factors that determine a home's true value, leading to critical miscalculations. You have to respect the complexity of the real world. Don't click away yet. See that video on your screen? Click it right now. The next story shows what happens when a business fixes the right constraint first or the wrong one. You need to see this. Click that video and keep watching.